Hey guys, got a very esteemed colleague. Hard to get this guy's attention and get him in one spot, but we have the very well-known, well-received Matt Rogers, Mr. Rogers of our Flesh and Blood community. Matt, thank you so much for taking the time out.
No, absolutely. Thanks. Thank you, Saint. Thanks for the invite on. I'm always keen to hang out with you and sort of talk some stuff, and we share a lot of mutual interests. So it's always good fun.
Absolutely, man. For those of you that don't know, Matt was just at either 2 or 3 callings. I saw you
Three.
at 2 callings of the
Yeah.
3, right? You were at Cincinnati as well. We had a lot of fun in
Yeah.
Dallas and then Orlando, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was great. You were showing me some fun American pleasantries and things to do, and yeah, we just had a really good time. Got to tee up and actually meet in person. Obviously, I've been doing a lot with you online or talking and chatting, and you've kind of supported my play over there, and it was just great to actually meet up with you in person and really get over here and meet everybody. To be honest, it was really cool.
Absolutely. It was great to put a face to the name live, hang out, break bread, drink, eat, just a lot of fun times. And I mean, the deck tech tips were super, super invaluable. I'm just probably a below average player by the limited amount of reps, but just by hanging out with you kind of rubbed off some of that greatness, fab greatness rubbed off. So
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
You were doing really well in some of those sealeds I saw.
Yeah.
Figuring out the Briar deck and the Oldham and stuff like that. It was great to see.
Absolutely. Again, I appreciate it. It's just great to learn, even when, I'm being a novice at the game. It was just great to pick something up and see myself progress by coming through for advice, every round or so and just catching up. It kind of reminded me of the camaraderie that professional poker players have with one another, talking to each other during breaks and analyzing hands, kind of like you analyze a deck or you analyze a line of play. It was really, really cool just being one of the boys and hanging out and trying to keep up at a very high level of play. By the way, for those of you that don't know, I think Matt runs an LGS as well as some sort of distribution. You want to talk about that really quick?
Yeah. So I own the Card Merchant franchise. So we've got 3 local gaming stores, all in New Zealand, and I also have Geek Culture distribution. So we're the leading TCG distributor in our small part of the world in little old New Zealand. So basically, my whole life has revolved around this industry.
That's amazing. So you're a lifer. I mean, especially now, you're just getting
I'm all in.
deeper and deeper into the industry, and Fab is your game. I mean, that's insane to run multiple businesses within the TCG space and become a national champion as well as the people's champion. That's really impressive, Matt.
It's honestly just a lot of fun. Like I literally get to wake up every day excited to live my dream, which is 100% what I'm doing. I love this community. Everything about it is exactly how I want to live my life, and it's just been really cool to kind of work with everybody in the different facets of the community as well to achieve really cool things together.
That's great. That's great. Now, speaking of achieving your goals and reaching out and striving to, reach your dreams, today's a very momentous day, right?
Absolutely.
There's just an announcement. Do you want to cover it? I don't want to steal your thunder here. It's your day.
No, absolutely. So yeah, today was the day that we launched a company that has been taking almost, a massive amount of my attention and time and focus and passion for the last over a year now, which is Premier Card Grading. So I've been working with my business partner, Robert Miller in New Zealand, on establishing a grading company with an aim to bring about consistency into the grading space and really kind of take on the old boys. About maybe about 8 months ago now, Channel Fireball decided to get behind us and really back us for this project, which allowed us effectively to just hit the ground running internationally. So today we launch with Channel FaBled, we launched our USA office of Premier Card Grading, it's been an incredible day. I've received a massive amount of support from you and from so many people in the community, and just amazing well wishes and people saying, look, we're going to support you, we're going to get behind you, this is amazing that you're doing this is so needed for the community as well. So I really hope to do everybody proud.
Yeah, I'm super glad to hear that, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
We just did a stream earlier, and I mentioned in the stream that I was talking to James White a couple weeks back, and we talked just about his business, and it's just really amazing that a little New Zealand trading card company can receive such high success and such critical acclaim from all around the world and such massive adoption. You know, we actually talked about your efforts, your upcoming efforts, and he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, James, if a New Zealand company can go out there and beat two of the greatest, largest companies in the world, why can't it be replicated in card grading, right?
Exactly.
So it's the same thing. There's two dominant parties. I use both parties. I even use the third party, number 2.5. Like, I use all the prominent grading companies, and right now there are problems. I mean, don't take it from me, everybody. Matt, can you just go through it right now without bashing the competition too much? What's the community lacking right now?
So I think the biggest thing is that the companies that have been, operating in this space with very little competition for about 30 years now, they're just lacking someone to keep them honest. The consistency is far lower than it should be in any sort of industry. Especially something with such attention to detail and specialized as grading. And it just seems like a lack of serious competition is really allowing companies to kind of get away with taking a lot of shortcuts and not really kind of putting in what they should.
How do you see your ethics and your execution and your beliefs and your integrity? How are you planning to execute upon your values within PCG?
Yeah, well, I think it comes from a stem of the same sort of thing that I've tried to do with all of my businesses. And I mean, this is going to sound a little bit cliche, but there is, sort of three fundamental elements and focus points that I like to kind of approach business with, and that served me incredibly well in the past. And I know that, I never make any sort of major decisions without these three fundamentals. And I touched on them just a little bit before when I was talking about James, actually, is especially in this industry, in a sort of TCG industry, and that's community focus, transparency, and consistency. Okay. I'm sorry, it does sound a little bit cliche, but I really truly believe that through consistency, we can really achieve something that people, it's the best way that we can meet people's expectations, right? Like, people have, all sorts of different and major expectations of a company and of a group of people and anything that you're doing. And I truly believe that the only way, to consistently meet that is through consistency itself. If I can deliver the same sort of service and the same sort of experience over and over and over, gradually I'm going to get better at it, more efficient at it, and you're always going to believe that you're going to get it. And then another massive thing I like to live by, and I think makes life and business so much easier, is just transparency. I think the big difference that I want to make very clear between backing a company like mine is that you are going to get to know everything. I won't hide anything. I like to come, I like to just answer questions. I like to just put all of the information out there, and then that you can, believe or trust in what I say. I don't think that anything is more important than you trusting me and then you trusting my brand. So when it comes to like, something to hide, I just don't believe I can make a big enough mistake that's going to be worth more than your trust. So any mistake I make, anything like, anything we screw up, because we're human, there's going to be plenty, just putting that out on the table, putting that out on the cards and saying, this is what we've done and this is what we're going to learn from it. And this right now is my promise of how I'm going to do better. And I truly believe that having transparency as a sort of key fundamental in all my business decisions has served me so well in the past.
Okay.
And I truly believe that that's what, I can honestly say I've never been in a business meeting or made a decision where I've had to tell people, all right, we need to hide this. We need to hide this from the, from the public and from our customers and from our community. And I think it's that's something I'm very proud to be able to say. I've never been in that situation, and I plan to never be in that situation.
Absolutely.
So I truly believe that just putting everything on the table and saying this is exactly how we do it, and people are going to copy it and people are going to think, but as long as we're just really honest and have really focus on that, on the consistency of the systems around that, I think we can always do things as best as we can anyway.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that last bit. Just like LSS and FaBled, it's like, FaBled,
exactly.
We screwed up. It's okay. Let's move on.
Yep.
We're not perfect, and I'm sure running a products company and a service company like PCG, something's gonna happen. Even day 1,
many things
are gonna happen, and you just have to own up to it. And that's how you show your character to the community. Now, you mentioned that was number 1, community engagement. I've just gotten some questions, even from the people that like submitted their community batch. They're like, hey, how is PCG going to take accountability for their quality control? What ideas do you have, or what's in the works, or what's the plan there?
So we've got a very rigorous training. So I guess it comes back to the thing that I mentioned before, and that I always take consistency into huge consideration with any sort of decision in business.
Okay.
The way we've trained our grading team is absolutely with consistency at the forefront of the mind. So everything has gone through. I've been literally holding classes on anything you can think of, from taking a card out of a top loader to sleeves to how to analyze all of these different things.
Okay.
And it is absolutely just critically important to us that people can trust us with their cards, that we're not going to cause any damage in-house. We've just put as many consistency measures in as possible. And the CFB staff here at Channel FaBled, we've literally been training them for 3 months.
Oh, you're in Henderson right now, right?
Yeah,
you're in the secret facility. Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the box opening booths, I think, right? I was there with Machi not too long ago. That's amazing.
This is CFB box break. So
yeah.
But I've been here for the final sign off for the training, and over the last couple of months we've sent massive PowerPoint presentations and videos, training videos, and all of that sort of stuff. And we've been trying to work as closely with the teams as possible. And then I've come here for the last 4 weeks. Coming and playing the calling and meeting people was definitely part of the agenda. But the other part was to come here and sign off the end of the training. So I've spent time with each of the grading teams and every single staff member individually, and gone over work and grades and whole batches and stuff, and just talked and really deep dived into every single aspect. But our grading manual is massive. It's a Bible, and it's really, really, really specific on literally every bit of whitening, scuffing, scratches, sizes, everything. Our graders can look up information and make absolute certain that they're assessing things correctly to our standards. So it's to the point now, after a few months of training, where this week we gave a few batches to a bunch of different graders, batches of sort of 12 cards, and got the full 4 subgrades back from each card. And usually it was either 10 or 11 out of 12 subgrades would match across the board. So
you mean 4 subgrades hitting at 10 out, identical out of 10 out of 12
10
graders,
out of 12. So
right?
we've literally gotten to the point where we're past 80% consistency between a lot of stuff. So,
okay.
This was 100% the goal. What we set out to do was to create a manual and to create a training program that could bring about some consistency that has been missing in this industry, right?
Yep.
The absolute most important thing that we wanted was a consistent system. So whether our system's right or wrong, that's up to anybody to agree with. But the point is that our system is consistent. And if you grade cards with us, the plan in the future here is that you should know what you're going to get. If Saint sits down and grades his cards based on our system, and based on the previous cards that he's graded, and we're talking measurements of every little bit of whitening and stuff. If if you follow that, you should get the exact grades you expect to get, and we should meet your expectation well over 80% of the time.
Yeah. I made a video about that, and it definitely wasn't 80%. I think we're barely at 50%, and that's a problem when you're paying the big bucks. Speaking about bucks, obviously price is going to be appealing, right? Can you talk about the pricing structure and maybe the different tiers of the different benefits of each tier?
Yeah, well, I think what's apparent about our pricing structure is we've based it on costs. We've based it on making a profitable business rather than charging people what we think they'll be prepared to pay. We're not just charging whatever number is the highest number that people will pay to get the service done. We're charging what we believe is a fair market price based on the costs. And I mean, we've spent a year analyzing this down, to the seconds and the minutes and the stages of each of the grading, and really truly understanding, what our percentage costs and break evens are for the business structure of what we're charging for our service, right?
Yep.
So we've come to some numbers. For the most part, our standard service, which is the service most people will use, is a $35 service.
Okay.
$35 a card. Some of the higher expensive cards that we have to take a little bit more responsibility on, in terms of insurance and in terms of we're responsible for your cards while we're handling them. Those cards have to be a higher service and can be $60 or as much as $100. And then we also have bulk rates for cheaper cards, which can be as low as $15 without subgrades, or $25 with. So
25 with. That would already make you one of the cheapest in the industry, and with subgrades. So not all of the competition currently has subgrades, right? So that's definitely a plus. Inner sleeve. Do you want to say anything about an inner sleeve? Because that was huge. There was a launch of a new grading company like a year ago, and not having an inner sleeve, I believe, was detrimental to them acquiring enough market share. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we've developed a custom inner sleeve for each game. So Flesh+Blood has slightly different card stock to Magic, for example. So the thickness and the exact sizing of our inner sleeves does actually change throughout from game to game. But basically, we've developed an inner sleeve that should perfectly preserve and sit your card exactly in the position that it's welded into the case in. I think a big problem with a lot of grading companies and a lot of slabs is, you might get something graded and it comes out as a 9.5, but 10 years later, after you've moved it from house to house and it's kind of, being shaken around in that case plenty of times.
Yep.
Exactly. It's never going to regrade at that, absolutely part of the service is preserving, these beautiful collectibles for many, many, many years to come. I want these slabs, these, PCG graded slabs to still be around in 50 years in the exact condition that they were graded in.
Yeah.
So it was really important to us that a card, is never able to be damaged inside the case.
Absolutely. I completely get that. Really quick, I wanted to go back to the community outreach, and this was a question that was brought up by people. I don't know why they're asking me, but they asked me instead of asking you. I guess I'm easier to contact. They're like, Saint, what if I don't like or I don't agree with a grade that PCG assigns me? What would happen? Or is there a difference at tiers, like the $35 tier, you get a review, or you don't get a review, but the $60 tier, you get a review? What's the breakdown there? What's the thought process, at least?
Yeah, so no, I don't believe in sort of separating that out and only sort of giving that experience and top customer service to the people that pay the top dollar.
That's fair. Okay.
End of the day, we're taking a customer service approach to this. If people aren't happy, they can get in contact with us, and we are going to do our best to provide a remedy. So, it's a case by case at this point. We will come out eventually with our specific guarantees, but at the start of the service, in these first few months, it's just super important that everybody that uses us is really happy, as much as what's possible for us to do, right? So,
of course.
Certainly at this stage, as we want to treat every single customer service spot, with urgency and care, and we really want to make sure people are looked after. So, if people are upset or disagree with it, as I say, one of our key things is transparency. We're going to come back and we're going to say, this is the exact reason. These are the marks. This is the sizing. This is exactly why you got this grade.
Okay.
And if it's not up to our standard, absolutely, we're going to regrade it. We're not going to, we're not going to leave you in the lurch there and say, tough bickies, we screwed up, but I guess that's your problem now that it's back in your hands. That's absolutely not what we're about. So,
tough nuggies, give us more money so we can maybe grade it right this time.
Yeah, right? No, I definitely don't believe in that. If the customer's paid for a service, they're going to get that service. They're going to get that expectation. I'm not going to, ask them to pay another fee on top for us to, to pay for our time to look back at it again. If we haven't done our job right the first time, you've already paid for that job. So, we owe it to you to do that job again.
Oh, wow. That's music to my ears, right? We owe it to you to get what you paid for. Like, give me, the customer, what I paid for. That's the very least you can ask in any service-oriented business, right? I don't want to. I don't want to drown you in my frustration, Matt. I don't want to drown you in my frustration.
I think that's the backbone of any successful business. It kind of astounds me that you can operate in an industry where community focus and customer service is an afterthought because people are going to give you money anyway. I can't see that lasting. Even if it has lasted through many years through little competition, I can't see that continuing.
Yeah, it's not scalable and it can't last forever. Absolutely. I think there are other companies out there, the dominant companies out there, are less and less transparent about their grading standards. You had mentioned a Bible. Now, I would never expect you to share the secret sauce, but how much of that Bible will be shared with the community, or how much of the grading standards, at least, are going to be shared with the community?
I think as much as I can, basically, as much as I'm allowed to. Obviously, I've got a lot of partners here, and we've got licensing agreements and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, ultimately, what I would love to do is just if we get into a position in the market where we're not too afraid of people, we got enough of a foothold that we're not afraid of the competition basically just copy pasting exactly what we're doing. I think if we can get into that position early, I would like to just put everything out there and just say these are our standards. This is exactly how we grade. And ultimately, my aim is to get to that point.
Okay, great. So full transparency, but you want to roll it out. You don't want to let the secret sauce out. You want like 6 months to a year first so that people can try and be satisfied with the product. And then you'll say, hey, you like this? This is how we did it, right?
Yeah. Well, I think right now, as a startup, if we were to put that out right now, it would just be silly for a bunch of companies. If we're doing well and people agree with those standards, why wouldn't a bunch of other startups and other companies that are kind of battling against us at the moment just copy and paste us? And then we have less of a point of difference. So
Absolutely.
I think it's a little hard to do that straight off the bat. But certainly, if we get into a position like, say, 6 months or a year down the track, people are talking about us and alongside the names of kind of the top dogs in the industry, and we're in that sort of top 3 spot, and we've solidified our footing there, then I think at that point, why not just tell everybody, have that as part of the story. This is how we got there. This is how we got consistent grading. And this is exactly how we grade. We release a 160-page grading Bible, and this is exactly how we grade every single one of your cards. And every single thing. I would love to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun and a cool story, but I definitely can only do it at a point that it's safe for the future of our business to do so.
You know what? You guys got a point. That somebody did their homework. Don't share trade secrets on day one, right?
No.
All right. Well, hopefully this isn't a trade secret. What about insurance? Like, I know that there's a certain company that has inner sleeves that doesn't offer insurance. There's a company without inner sleeves that does offer insurance, but you kind of like combine the two, right? You've got insurance on every card. Can you explain that thought process and what the insurance covers?
Yeah, so when people submit a card with us, they submit its market value as well, right? Which is effectively what we're insuring it for, and what we are insuring it with our third-party insurance for as well, right?
Okay.
So while that card's with us, if it gets damaged or anything happens to it or lost or anything like that, you're insured for that value as long as it was within reason. And then we use that to calculate return insurance. If you want your card to be insured on the way back to you once it's out of our hands, we insure that based on the value of your cards as well. So we want your cards, to be. We want you to have peace of mind while you're grading your cards, right? We don't want you to have to worry that, some courier can drop kick your card over a fence and everything smash and get ruined. And then because it had already left our hands, it's not our problem anymore. We want to be able to provide a service where you're comfortable the whole time, that once your card is received by us, from that point to the point that it gets back to you, it is insured, and we are gonna make sure that if anything happens to your card, the same thing is replaced or a market rate is paid out for it.
Okay. Now, Matt, I don't want to nitpick here, but I heard 2 instances of insurance. The first instance of insurance, is that tied to the grading fee, or is it separate? Is it extra?
So that's tied to so your card is insured while it's with us, while it's in our hand for its market value. And so we ask you to specify that market value, and as long as it's within reason, your card's insured for that while it's with us. That's a no question. That's even on the $15 service. That's on everything, no matter what.
Okay.
Yep. While your card's in our hands, we take responsibility for that. In my opinion, it would be silly not to. If we damage or lose your card, that's on us. We're going to replace that. We're going to make that right. And then the second part is the return insurance. So that's insuring your card for when after it's left our hands. So that's when we're returning the card to you with the courier. Etc. That's an insurance there as well, so that you have full peace of mind that if you send your card into us, once we've received it from there until you're getting it back, that card's insured.
Wonderful. Thanks for making the distinction. I just wanted that to be clarified because right now the market's kind of sensitive, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you want to go one company, another company? It seems like you're definitely trying to hit the nail on the head, trying to include all the points of value, trying to provide value to the customers in every single facet. I mean, was that part of the thought process? You thought one of the bigs was doing this a certain way, another one was doing that a certain way. Let's bring it all together and let's
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we identified all of the things that people, that was a massive part of our business plan and brainstorming there, as we identified all of the things that people from the community felt were acceptable, and all of the things that people wanted to see improvements in, and we tried to piece as many of those into the service as possible. Many of these stories, like your own, of your cards being sent and then being damaged while they're with us, and then the remedy to that is, oh, here, have 2 free grades or something like that. It's just silly, and I just can't understand how that can ever meet a customer expectation. So that was something really important. I mean, to be honest, throughout the process of this, before I could even tell you what was going on, I was watching your videos and saying, all right, we need to do this. We need to do this better. We need to make sure we meet expectations here and stuff. And I was watching the videos of people that weren't happy with the service they were getting, and those were some key elements that we had to ensure that we factored in. And when we put everything together, these are all of the things that we thought we could do within the fee and within the amount that we're charging for the service. And these are all the things that we could kind of hit the nail on the head with, and the things that were most important to the community.
Yeah, it's great that you mentioned that, because I was a stalwart, loyal supporter of one of the bigs. And back, I think as recently as February and March, I even publicly said, you know what, a 0.5% damage rate, that's it's acceptable. It's not happy, I'm not happy about it, but it happens. You got to let it go. You got to let one in every.
Yeah. I mean, you can put as many kind of policies and things in place to minimize that. But when humans are involved and when processes are involved, things are going to happen. There is going to be a percentage. Whether that's 1, whether that's 0, 0.00, whatever, is going to happen. But it's about factoring that in to make sure that you can make it right when it does. And about keeping that percentage as low as possible, about having systems in place to absolutely minimize that.
I couldn't agree more. It's about lowering the damage rate to basis points, not entire percentage points, or in some batches I've received double-digit percentage points. That's not okay. I mean, everybody who watches, who doesn't know me or my grading content or my track record, they're just going to be like, you know what, you're just a guy that doesn't like your grades, that just wants to complain. And that's an easy cop out, but it's gotten really, really bad. Like, there was a time where, you know what, I'd get a 4-figure card nicked, and I'd be like, that's just part of it. It happens. But then when it's entire like swaths, like it's a noticeable part of a piece of the pie chart, then I start getting a little it's consistently not what I want. And that's when I'd say I kind of don't want to support those same brands. Now let's not dwell on that. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think from my point of view, I've been rigorously studying this for years. Exactly what you're talking about, and it's certainly not just you. It's easy for somebody to say, oh, Saint's just not happy, he just wants more grades or whatever. But in terms of people, and my business partner is a great example. The whole reason that he wanted to go into this, he's been running a middleman service for PSA and Beckett for 5 years now.
Oh, wow.
And the whole reason that 2 years ago he decided he wanted to go into this, or sort of maybe 18 months ago, something around there, is that the standard was just not meeting expectation anymore. Robert,
you don't say.
He'd honestly built a name for himself within the New Zealand and Australian grading community over many years, with massive consistency of, every card that was submitted through his service, you would get a grade, his expectation of what your grades would be. And then for the most part, with Beckett and PSA, he built up a reputation for being very, very accurate. And, he started to lose that reputation when the accuracy fell off, consistently started to fall off. And he, knowing that he hadn't changed anything and he'd stuck rigorously to his system, it was horrible to be in that situation where he was getting it wrong, basically.
Actually, maybe he wasn't getting it wrong. I mean, I've seen this accusation in comment sections of my videos where they're like, oh, maybe you don't know what you're doing. But you're saying that your business partner had been offering a service where he pre-graded things based on a certain standard, like a standard that used to be transparent by some companies. And he'd be like, okay, 85, 90 times out of 100, it would come back almost like so. And if he's off by a small margin, that's what it is. But even him,
he's gonna be.
He graded things and pre-graded, and customers used to be satisfied. And about, a little longer than 18 months ago, they started becoming unsatisfied. And then I'm guessing, if it's like my experience, the lack of satisfaction went exponential really quick, right?
Yeah. And I mean, Robert is somebody that's absolutely meticulous, has attention to detail beyond almost anybody I've ever met. He was sort of 15 years in the Navy, just very kind of meticulous, kind of systematic and very much like that. And it frustrated him to the point where he said, there's got to be a better way here. There's got to be something else I can do here. And that's where he came to me. And we met up, and he said, well, look, if I, devote the time and stuff to writing down what I know, to putting my knowledge into a grading standard, into what's now become a grading Bible, I believe that we can come up with a training program and a system here to really make sure we hit consistency. That's what I'm saying. This was literally the backbone of this business decision, was that we can get consistency, we can create consistency, and everything has been built around that. And that's what I honestly believe that we've achieved. So.
Yep. That's great. I want to give you my vote of confidence, but I've got a community batch that was just featured earlier today. Like I said, I'm interviewing you as a friend, and I'm congratulating you on the start of your business, but I'm not a shill. I want to see results, and we have randomized grading. We've got previous tags from other companies to see how consistent it is. And I mean, they're cracked open because I believe that they were undergraded in multiple cases. And then I'll even do some shadow grading, 1 out of 10, 10% of the batch, to see how it is and share it with the community. And I mean, you're as cool as a cucumber. I don't think that's threatening at all, because if you follow your standards.
I'm excited about this. I absolutely want this challenge. Like honestly, seriously, from my heart. Like I really do think that this is a way that I get to show people that what we've got works. So
wonderful.
I can't wait.
A big thing. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I mean, this is, I live and breathe this. People don't believe it. I spend like 2,000 hours a year minimum working with graded cards, graded product. And, I'm meticulous as well. Maybe not as meticulous as your business partner, but I mean, I put in my time. One of the biggest controversies surrounding a different graded market, graded video games, is that certain video game graders don't have a population report. How important is a pop report? Maybe not day one, but when do you foresee PCG?
Massively important. Pop report is literally how we can transparently show people what we're doing. We are developing a pop report. The plan was always to release the pop report once we've graded 10,000 cards. So once we have enough of a population in there so that it doesn't look silly, and so that it can actually be searched and used and kind of interfaced with and stuff. So the plan is always and still is to release the population report at 10,000 cards graded.
You said 10,000? I got 100 right here. We're going to be at 1% really soon, okay? 99 left to go. I did my part. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome.
No, so I think we're at about
Already.
2,200 cards already graded in
Oh,
New
wow.
Zealand. Yeah. So in New Zealand, we've been open for a few weeks, and we've had plenty just flood in. So we're getting pretty close to that, and the pop report is getting to a point where I'm happy. I'm sort of I think the just having the CFB guys and the binder post team designing this for us has just been incredible. I think they've done a fantastic job with the website
Okay.
and the pop report. There's a few other fix-ups and a few other things, but I think we're on track. I think it's very likely that we'll be launching that in a few weeks.
Okay, just so that I understand. I mean, and the viewers, they're curious too. If I'm curious, you mentioned that the pop report actually already exists. So you built from slab one the pop report. You're just not making it public just yet because you need a critical mass. Is that what I'm hearing?
For the most part, yes. So it's been, kind of the bones of it has been built. We know we haven't put the data into it yet, right? So we don't have, we haven't stress tested it. We haven't kind of figured out the exact design aspects of everything, but it's 100% been roadmapped and the bones of it has been built. And for the most part, it's probably, I guess, let's say the pop report needs 500 hours of development.
Okay.
It's probably at the point where it maybe needs 100 hours of development.
Oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean? So I would say that the final part and the testing, when we put the data in and everything like that, is the most important part. But it's also it requires the least input.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's great that, I mean, you've done your homework, and we didn't rehearse, we didn't do anything. You're just rattling everything off, and you know your business. I respect that. It shows that you've put a significant amount of hours into it.
No.
Yeah.
I appreciate. I mean, my whole thing is that I want to do this to a high standard. There's no point in coming out and just being another startup grading company. There's already 50 of those out for you.
Okay.
If you want to use them. But the whole point is that I want this to be part of a journey. I want this to have been something that started in New Zealand. All of the cases are manufactured in New Zealand. Like, this is a real kind of proud, passionate thing that we've made, and I want in 10 years' time to be able to look back and say, hey, we really achieved something here. This isn't something to just muck around because it's needed or whatever. This is something
proudly made in New Zealand, encapsulated by a product proudly made in New Zealand as well, right?
Yeah,
that's poetic justice. I totally get it, and I support it. Look, okay, I don't want people to accuse me of saying that I'm just pitching low balls or pitching underhand. This is big, and I mean, I kind of have this concern, but I'm sure a lot of people have a larger concern. They're gonna say, how will PCG cards generate value? How will there be a premium? And what would you say to the customers that are on the fence in that situation?
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of just like Flesh and Blood, right? Like, the people that supported and got in there early and got those alpha cards while it was very easy to kind of get that stuff, got really rewarded in the future when it became a little bit harder. Right now, our serial numbers are very low. That's kind of cool, and that's kind of a collectible thing as well. We're doing some incredible work that and making these stunning pieces that you can be proud of and display. And I think that getting behind this early on, and having that as part of the story of your collection, is just going to pay dividends in the future. I think it's going to be something truly special.
Wonderful. So just basically believe in the product, believe in your consistency, believe in your dedication to the community. And I mean, we're probably outright, I mean, I'll say it for you. I'm guessing that people that get quads, they're not expecting 300 to 500% premiums day one. But if more get graded, and they're consistent quads, and other people see the workmanship behind your product, similar to another TCG product, you'll adopt more and more believers, and then you'll achieve that critical mass. Then you'll achieve market adoption, similar to what LSS did with Flesh and Blood, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a long-term It's a long-term investment in believing in us. It would be arrogant to say that 10 grade slabs are going to be worth 400-500%, next week or anything like that. It's silly to make such claims, but certainly I truly believe that in 6 months, a year, etc., once we have proven to the industry our consistent grading and the standard and the worth of it, I truly believe that you'll see that in spades.
Wonderful. Okay. There's if you've got time, I've got one more question. I mean, you and your partners have determined that you have a market-ready product. What if, what is in the works? How would you improve? How would you consistently innovate to attract more to the market later on?
Yeah, so we've got multiple pages of our future initiatives. There's a whole lot of stuff that we've that we have spent a bit of time kind of getting into and discussing and stuff. Anything from multi slabs to put like your favorite kind of things together, like a hero set of 4 cards, or your Pokemon evolutions of a few things, or anything like that, a kind of multi-set slab. Anything from that to literally pop figure grading to all sorts of stuff. So we've got a massive brainstorm of things, and we've got a whole lot of things that would put a very small amount of time into initially, but plan to put a bit more time into. And we're just going to have some fun kind of rolling out. We want to kind of keep things exciting and fun and fresh, much like TCGs do with, releasing 3 sets a year or whatever. We certainly have a plan of, every few months releasing a new kind of cool initiative.
Okay. Wonderful. Hey, Matt, I don't want to take too much of your time, but if there's one thing you can say to the people that eventually view this video, what is it? Why PCG? Why Matt? One last thing, one last takeaway for them.
Yeah, I think in life, if you're not getting what you think you deserve and what you think you're paying for, then you have some real power as a consumer. You have some real power as a customer to take that business somewhere where the people behind there will actually do care about what they do. My business partner, myself, our partners in Channel Fireball, and everybody are truly massively passionate about this industry. And we really do care about making your collection beautiful, about, that we're all people that just are passionate about this ourselves as well.
You're into the game. You showed
exactly.
it. You've been traveling the world during a pandemic to support a game, right? Halfway across the planet.
Exactly. So, we will want this as well. We know what you want because we want it too. This is something that's on, my computer desk at work and at home and all through our house, much to my girlfriend's argument. But, this is something that I am seriously passionate about, and so is everybody that works for us. I truly believe that. So, this is something that I think, end of the day, if you believe in us, we're going to do this together.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to suspend any skepticism, and hopefully these will come back consistent. They can't come back too low, too high. They just need to be right. And I'm going to take your word for it. And I guess in, was it 2 to 4 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks? In the next month or two, let's just say, they'll come back, and hopefully there'll be good findings that we can share with the community.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
All right. Thanks once again, Matt. You have a wonderful day. Keep on trekking. Keep doing your thing at CFB HQ. And just know that I believe in you, but we're gonna put your words to the test. Thanks again, man.
Yeah.